Hi, I'm Muddy. Welcome to the Mudshire. Recently I just started playing, well, not just started, I've been playing. I've been playing Dragons Dogma II, and I just wanted to make a video about my time and experience playing it so far. This video is going to be sort of a multitude of things. It's going to be littered with my opinions. Think of this video like a diary, except I'm talking about a video game. The footage for this video might end up a little weird. All my gameplay is probably going to be from my stream VODs. Follow me on Twitch, please. Please. And a lot of the things I'll be talking about, I don't actually have any specific clips for, so, yeah. Am I lazy? Maybe. Or I'm just protecting you from spoilers. Now, since this is my diary, I'm going to start way back, like before Dragon's Dogma even came out. Now, I did not play the first Dragon's Dogma, so my expectations for this game were not Dragon's Dogma. My hopes for this game were sort of like a better Skyrim? I think this isn't too crazy of a take. They're the same genre of game, and I've heard a couple other people also hoping this, so I'm not crazy. I'm not crazy. But yeah, I really wanted Skyrim, but with big cool monsters and just better combat in general, and the marketing for this game had me convinced that that was what I was going to get.
Hey, you!
I just really wanted Skyrim, but you know, with big cool monsters and just better combat in general. And the marketing and trailers for the game had me convinced that that is what I was going to get, that this was going to be the most immersive RPG ever, that the exploration would be out of this world, that the characters were going to be lifelike and charming and blah 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 blah. Spoiler alert. That was not what I got. But I was truly under the impression that when I stepped into the world of Dragon's Dogma, I was going to be blown away. And as more and more of the trailers came out and more features were revealed, I was just becoming more and more convinced like this was gonna be the best game ever. Like when I learned that traveling was going to be limited and you'd have to walk everywhere to simulate a real adventure, I was ecstatic. Like, yes, please, I want to go on an unforgettable adventure. Then I started getting worried. What did I start to worry about, you may ask? It's actually one of the biggest complaints I've seen about this game since its release. But it was the Griffin that clued me in on this. As the release date got closer and closer, I kept seeing the fucking Griffin everywhere. And I said to myself, they are either keeping this game incredibly under wraps, or there's nothing else to fight besides this stupid Griffin. Sadly, it ended up being the latter. Now, of course, there are other things to fight beside the Griffin, but I kid you not. Every single thing you can fight in this game are in the trailers. It's really not a wide variety by any means. In fact, there are only 9 different types of large monsters you can fight around the world. Now, this does not include some of the larger, like, one-off story beat monsters, but there's not many of those either, so yeah. I didn't start out bothered by this. At first I thought it was a bit charming seeing the different variations of the same types of monsters, and I was having fun figuring out their weaknesses, but it very quickly gets boring because you see all the different variations also like pretty quickly. And it's quite easy to figure out the best ways to defeat the monsters, so fighting just starts to get repetitive. It's not something you would like seek out to do eventually. You start getting annoyed by the encounters. Like, oh yeah, I fought this guy 40 times already, getting kind of sick of it. But even still, as I was playing, I didn't get too bogged down by this because I kept saying, oh, when I get to Batal, which if you don't know, is a different area of the game that switches up the environment from like a woodsy area to the desert. But when I get to Batal, there will be new monsters since the biome is different. I was super excited to actually go there and start discovering new things. But guess what? There are no new monsters in the new biome. It's the same thing you've been fighting the whole game. Yeah, that was pretty underwhelming. I was very disappointed when I got there. Now you might go, but you said you wanted better Skyrim. There's not tons of monster variety in Skyrim either. Now that is true. I cannot fault you for saying that to me. But let me just remind you, Skyrim is 13 years old. So I would expect, and I think reasonably so, that a game that came out this year, would have a little bit more to offer. Just maybe. Now, still before the game came out, after my suspicions from the trailers, came the great microtransaction controversy. Usually when I hear microtransactions in games, I run, especially in a game like this where it makes no sense to have any. But when I found out about them, I was so desperate, absolutely desperate, for the magical journey that this game was promising. I totally ignored them and just kept going. Head first, blinders on, because I really wanted to experience the magical adventure Capcom was promising me. Now, the controversy about the microtransactions was pretty warranted. We as gamers are tired. We're tired and sick of microtransactions. Thankfully, the microtransactions they were offering were completely pointless. I don't know why you would ever buy the items in the store. Some of them are like totally random, like the Harpy Smoke Beacon and a better supply pack. If you play the game, you're going to get a ridiculous amount of these items. I'm on the opinion of Capcom said to the Dragons Dogma team, microtransactions make money! Put them in! We want money! And the team working on the game just like blankly stared at them and a bunch of question mark pings started popping up everywhere. And then they just added a bunch of expensive-ish items to the store. I don't know. It wasn't a reason not to play the game when you looked at like what was going on. But it was a reason to hate on Capcom. That's how I sort of felt about it, you know, like, weird. Anyway. But, you know, overall, still referring to before the game came out, my start into this game was please let Skyrim die! Let me have a new fucking game to play that I love, please! What happened when I started actually playing Dragons Dogma? For my first couple hours, I kind of thought they had actually done it. With the whole intro to the game, it felt so Skyrim-esque to me. Yeah, I really thought they'd done it, but I was wrong. Pretty soon into the game, I found out that I was wrong. I don't want to come off as a straight hater, because for the most part, I'm kind of enjoying Dragon's Dogma. It's not like a terrible game. It's not a bad game, but it's not the best game. And it definitely didn't make it into my favorite games. I would probably not even recommend this to someone unless I knew it was up their alley. The deeper I got into Dragon's Dogma, the more underwhelming it felt, especially with the questing and exploration, which are supposed to be, you know, the key points of the game. Really, they're very mid. Some of them I would even consider to be bad. But the first thing on my hit list is exploration. Now, there are a couple motivations for exploration in a game. In Dragon's Dogma, those are going to be for the story. This is going to be a giant fucking hit or miss for some people in Dragon's Dogma. I think exploring for the story is awful. Um, like exploring for lore, you're not gonna find much of anything. The glimpses of lore and story you get through exploration is very small. It's kind of unbelievable. For example, there are a lot of caves in Dragon's Dogma 2, and some of them seem to have their own little stories attached to them. But like that's it. That's all you get to work with. You walk into a cave and you go, weird. There are golem bodies here. I wonder what that's about. Now hobgoblins live in this cave. That's cool. That's interesting. But that's it. That's all you ever know. I haven't seen anything that goes really deeper than that, which is pretty disappointing. The second motivation for exploration is finding cool items. Dragon Dogma gives you kind of like 4 different cool items to look for, which the first one is beetles, where you increase your carry weight. That's kind of important. It's nifty. It's a good reason to explore, try to get more of those. Carry weight can be kind of frustrating. It's not really that frustrating. It's meh, you know, that's whatever. Then there are seeker tokens. These are hard to find tokens that unlock special gear the more you collect. Again, this is kind of big whatever. It's cool if you like that sort of thing. You don't have to do it if you don't want to. I like this sort of thing. I am collecting all of them. Is it fun? I don't know. Do I have fun doing it? Probably not. But I like the number of them that goes up as you collect more. I like that. That's the fun part. The third reason to explore would be for gear. Everyone loves cool gear. Sadly, this is not in Dragon's Dogma. I mean, like, you can get gear, but exploring for gear is useless. I've never found anything better or cooler than what I can buy at the store. And I explore everything. Like, I keep a map open and I mark off everything that I explore while I play this game. So, I literally have not found any gear that's better than what you just buy, which is very sad. It's very sad. I want to find cool stuff to wear and use and fight with. It's honestly really frustrating because after a while you're just going through cave systems wondering if there's even a point in being there. I won't find useful loot in a cave. I won't find a quest. I won't find any world building lore. I mean, the only thing to look forward to is maybe finding one of the same 9 large creatures that you've been fighting the whole game. I don't know, it just sucks. Especially since the environment in caves can feel unique, that's fun. Because a lot of games, you know, the caves they're all the same. Every cave you go in is exactly copy and paste the same. The caves in Dragon's Dogma, thankfully, this is my praise, are different. They're pretty different from each other sometimes. That's cool. But even though they are cool and different, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter, does it? Because unless you're playing this game just because it looks good, which, I mean, you probably shouldn't be. I don't think anyone is playing this game because you want to be awed by the environment. It's supposed to be a game, as marketed, where I feel like I'm adventuring with a party and discovering cool ass shit. But yeah, I think it fell pretty flat on that note. So then, if not exploring, what is there to keep you playing? There's a main story. It exists. It's not bad. It's not life-changing either though. I'm not really bothered by it. But then there's some side quests to do, which for the most part, I don't know, for the most part those genuinely suck. Like, I'm not even gonna lie. I don't think the side quests are fun, like, ever. I haven't really found a good one. They keep you occupied. In all honesty, the side quests aren't that bad, but they're definitely not what I wanted. Maybe I'm lying when I say they aren't bad though. I don't know, I think they're bad. There's a few things in some of the quests that really stood out to me while I was playing that ruined like all sense of immersion. And I will pull up examples. I will pull up my examples. I don't have anything recorded, you're just gonna believe me that these are real things that happen in the game. Because I don't think I have any of them recorded. So you're gonna have to trust me. My first unimmersive conversation, like quest that stuck out, was you go with a man to look for a child that has gone into a cave. Inside that cave, you find a secret library. The man that you have come with says, "Oh wow, I don't want anyone to know about this library, but we need someone to watch over it. If you know someone to watch over it, let me know. Let me know about it." And I go, "Oh, I know exactly the man for the job." So I try talking to the guy that I came into the cave with, and I can't tell him that I found someone who can work in the library. That made me really mad. That seems very small, but the whole game, I feel like, is like this. Like, people saying things to you that you can't do anything about it. Like, you can't talk to them or say anything or respond, even when you actively know, like, what to do or how to fix their situation, which is really strange to me. Like, the way you conclude this quest is you go to the man who wants to work in the library and bring him in there. Another weird one that stood out to me was I was doing a quest to help some soldiers clear out a cave of lizard people near a city. I clear out the cave, I go back to the front of the city, and like a man pops up from thin air, and he says, "Oh, please help me, Arisen. They won't send soldiers to help me clear the lizards." And I'm just like, I literally just helped soldiers sent by the city to clear out the lizards. What are you talking about? What are you trying to tell me? What do you mean? I literally just did that for you. Then 3 lizards spawned just out of nowhere, which is just so like video game-y. It was so unimmersive. It was just weird. And you fight those little guys off, and the guy's happy, and he's like, "Everyone can come back to the town now, because I killed these 3 lizards." But not because me and the soldiers earlier killed the whole cave of them, like 2 seconds before this interaction happened. That was just so odd. And I don't know, like, what? It just doesn't make any sense. It didn't make any sense. I guess it's a story writing problem. I don't even know how to explain it. It just felt so odd. And I know I keep saying that, but the line of events didn't add up. I guess it would be considered a story writing problem. But there are a bunch of quests like that that just don't really like make sense in the timeline of things happening. I don't know, the plot like being retconned in front of my eyes for seemingly no reason in a game where your selling point is the promise of immersion. Like, it's just, it didn't add up while I was playing. Especially when there's proof in other quests that like, the writing can be good. The game is just such a mixed bag of like, fun, good quests that make sense with immersion that's, you know, different from other games to other quests that are just like dog shit. They're just so awful. Yeah. Like my two examples. My 2 examples. I know that's a lot of examples. You just gotta have to trust me with that one though. Since I'm being such a hater. I feel like I should point out an example of a quest that I did think was an immersive event for me, and that I thought was pretty cool. But you know, this quest is also in the trailer. It just makes me like, when I think about it, just makes me laugh. Like, all the cool stuff really is in the trailer. And that's all you're gonna get. Like, if you watch the trailers, you've played this game. But anyway, the cool quest is you're sent to locate a jade orb by 2 different people, and you can choose who to give it to. One is like a snobby merchant man, and the other one is like a sad, desperate man. Basically. A sad, desperate man. um, but there is a place that you can go to in game where you can copy items, and one of them is going to be like the real item and the other one is going to be a fake item. So the quest gives you the opportunity to use that and give whichever guy you want, the real one or the fake one. Now, when you give the orb to the snobby merchant man, he's like, oh, let me just, since I'm in the business of this sort of thing and I'm a professional, let me get this checked out to make sure you've given me the real thing. And you, as a player, is like, no, don't do that. Don't do that. I just gave you a fake. Don't do that. And then you can run your little ass to the guy who duplicated the item, who also is telling the snobby merchant man if it's real or fake. And you'd be like, hey, please don't tell that guy that's a fake. And you can bribe him and you just keep paying him money until he's like, okay, I won't rat you out. Like that was immersive to me. I was shocked after all the shit writing that I'd experienced in this game that was an option. Like, I was shocked that I could go and bribe the guy to not tell the snobby merchant man. And that was the type of writing I thought I had signed up for when I bought this game. But sadly, most of the quests in the game don't feel like this. Most of the game very feels like what I talked about before, very gamey. It feels it feels very outdated. Like I'm playing an older game, unaware of how far gaming has come. Maybe that has to do with Dragon Dogma's long development time. I couldn't tell you, but that's how I feel about it. I think one of the big reasons this game failed for me, although I can't really say it failed because I still play it, and once again, I'm not having the worst time. It's not the worst game. I know I said that already, but not the worst game, even though I've mostly said bad things. But I think the underlying reason of why this game doesn't work is because I think the developers are just so interested in making a game for themselves. I don't feel like they thought about what people wanted out of this game. I know that's gonna sound like I pulled that out of my ass, but I'm reminded of an actual good game that dropped last year, Baldur's Gate 3. You know it. I know it. We all know it. And we know why it's a good game. And it's because the developers wanted to make it fun for the player. They make that priority so much, and they state it so often. I feel like Dragon's Dogma just did the exact opposite, and they're just like, no, we're gonna make what we want, and we're not going to really care about who's playing it. One of the things that stood out to me in why I thought this is gonna sound weird, but it's because of the romanceable options in this game. That's gonna sound so weird. But there's 2 romance options. They're kind of interlaced with the story. They're heavily interlaced with the story, but they're both women. Which I'm sure a lot of the male gamers don't really care, but lo and behold, there are women who play video games.
Ugh. Brother, ugh.
So when I saw that there were only 2 options and that they were both women, I was like, oh, they do not care. They don't care about who's playing this game. I don't know if that's an absolutely crazy take. I feel like I'm being like a woke liberal. I don't think it's a crazy take though, that much. It's genuinely one of the first times as a gamer that I felt like outcasted. I was just like, that's odd. There's odd. I was genuinely so confused that I looked it up and I was like, what are the romance options? I ended up finding some stuff about like not being able to romance your pawn, and that people have been begging, crying, kicking, and screaming for your pawn to be more of a real character in some way. And the developers are just like, no, we can't do that. Your pawn is supposed to be a pawn without like a real personality, even though they gave them different personalities. But when I saw that is something that people were asking for and begging for, I was just like, Baldur's Gate would have done that. They would have done that for their player. Like, but when I saw that, I was like, Larian Studios would have done that. They would have put that into the game, even though it's not really what the developers wanted. And the people asking for this, they had so many good ideas of how they would make it make sense. So it's not unreasonable. It's not an unreasonable ask. And I feel like there are just a lot of aspects of this game that are like that. I know I only looked up the romance stuff because like that's what I'm interested in, but I feel pretty firmly that if I were to research other things, I would be seeing the same thing across the board. Like people being like, I really wanted this. I've been asking for this since the first game. I'm so sad they didn't put it in. And I think that's why Dragons Dogma just didn't, it's not a great game. I think that's one of the big reasons it failed. Overall, how do I feel about Dragons Dogma? I feel like I basically only am complaining and coping with my expectations, but I still enjoyed playing Dragons Dogma. I haven't really said very nice things about the game, but I had fun. I like exploring, even though it's not rewarding at all. I like fighting the same guy over and over again. It soothes me. I'm like a little baby. I'm like a little baby watching sensory videos. I feel comfort and ease when I play Dragons Dogma. I'm pretty sure that's not the goal or direction for this game at all. But hey, it kept me playing. I'm happy I was able to enjoy my very expensive walking simulator. I think I already talked about recommending the game a little bit, but would I recommend Dragons Dogma 2 to other people? Probably not. I wouldn't tell them not to play it either, but I would caution them. I would caution them to make sure it's something they would enjoy. I think really the saddest part about Dragons Dogma is when I look back at this game a couple years from now, it just sucks to know my thoughts are gonna be, well, that could have been a great game.